On July 8, 1497, a small fleet of 4 ships, led by the Portuguese navigator Vasco da Gama, set sail from Lisbon. Their mission: to find a sea route to India, bypassing the perilous and politically charged overland routes controlled by various powers. This daring expedition, sanctioned by King Manuel I of Portugal, would fundamentally alter the course of global trade, exploration, and geopolitics, ushering in an era of direct European access to the coveted riches of the East. For centuries, European demand for spices, silks, and other exotic goods from Asia had driven a complex network of trade routes. However, these routes were largely controlled by Arab and Venetian merchants, who held a virtual monopoly, leading to high prices and limited access for other European powers. The desire to break this monopoly and establish direct trade links fueled the ambition of a small, maritime-focused nation like Portugal. Building on the exploratory groundwork laid by navigators like Bartolomeu Dias, who had rounded the Cape of Good Hope a decade earlier, da Gama was tasked with completing the final, most challenging leg of this oceanic puzzle. Da Gama's journey was fraught with unimaginable perils. The ships, the São Gabriel, São Rafael, Berrio, and a supply ship, were small and vulnerable to the unpredictable whims of the open ocean. The crew faced not only the immediate dangers of storms, uncharted waters, and potential shipwreck, but also the insidious threats of scurvy, starvation, and disease. Navigation, while improving, was still rudimentary by modern standards, relying heavily on celestial observations and dead reckoning. The vastness of the Atlantic and Indian Oceans presented an unprecedented test of endurance and navigational skill. After a long and arduous journey down the west coast of Africa, rounding the Cape of Good Hope and navigating the treacherous currents of the Indian Ocean, da Gama's fleet finally reached Calicut, modern-day Kozhikode, on the southwest coast of India in May 1498. Their arrival marked a pivotal moment in history. For the first time, a European nation had established a direct maritime link to India, circumventing the traditional land-based trade routes. However, the initial reception in Calicut was far from triumphant. The Zamorin, the ruler of Calicut, was a powerful and shrewd monarch, accustomed to dealing with established Arab merchants. Da Gama's gifts were deemed unimpressive, and his initial attempts to establish favorable trading terms were met with suspicion and resistance. The Portuguese, accustomed to relatively less sophisticated societies in Africa, underestimated the intricate and ancient trading networks already present in India. Despite these setbacks, the very fact of their arrival was a monumental achievement. The return journey was even more brutal than the outward voyage. Scurvy decimated the crew, and many perished. When da Gama finally returned to Lisbon in September 1499, nearly 2 years after he had set sail, only 2 of his 4 ships remained, and a significant portion of his crew had been lost. Yet the small amount of spices and goods they brought back proved the immense potential of the sea route. The impact of Vasco da Gama's voyage was immediate and far-reaching. It ignited the age of discovery for Portugal and other European powers, leading to further explorations, the establishment of vast colonial empires, and a dramatic shift in global power dynamics. The sea route to India fundamentally reshaped trade, allowing for the direct flow of goods between East and West, effectively bypassing the overland Silk Road and diminishing the power of intermediaries. This new maritime highway led to the growth of new port cities, the decline of others, and an unprecedented exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures. Sometimes peaceful, often violent. Vasco da Gama's audacious journey on July 8, 1497, was more than just a navigational feat. It was a catalyst for globalization, forever connecting distant continents and setting in motion a chain of events that would define the next few centuries of human history. His legacy, while complex and intertwined with the subsequent exploitation and colonialism that followed, undeniably marks him as one of history's most transformative explorers.